Oh my gosh, man, it's pollen, man. Oh my gosh, it's fucking pollen. Oh my gosh. But anyway, welcome back to the Pott. I'm Moran. First and foremost, I just want to give a major shout out to all of our listeners and viewers. Shout out to everybody who ever took the time out of their life to watch any of these videos, especially the one that you're watching right now. Greatly appreciate it. I'm in the presence of a lot of sauce right now. Major sauce alert. Major. Exactly. Major sauce alert. This gentleman that I have the pleasure and the luxury to interview right now. Very dope, talented individual. I got my phone out because he has an amazing quote that I just wanted to make sure I said it right because I didn't want to mess it up. This gentleman, he brings formlessness into form. He brings timelessness into the present. Major sauce alert.
What an introduction.
Major sauce alert. He's also 1/17th of the amazing Atlanta music collective Awful Records. And he's also an affiliate of the Work Crew, dope DJs in Atlanta. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. The man, the myth. Well, I don't know if he's a myth because he's right here. But Micah Freeman, what's going on, man?
What's happening, man? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, thanks for coming.
That was a hell of an introduction.
Hey, man, hey, if you dope, I have no problem with acknowledging it, man.
Appreciate that.
So how you living, man?
I'm living. It's I'm in the midst of trying to wrap up a project.
Word.
Trying to keep my sanity.
Keep your sanity.
That's a struggle as an artist sometimes.
That's real. That's real. So we're gonna get inside it, man. Let's take a couple steps back.
Yeah,
you're an artist. How long you been making music, bro?
I started playing guitar in like middle school.
Word.
Which is just something that I did because my older brother did it, and I was like, oh shit, that's cool.
That's dope.
But I was never really serious about being a musician until high school. I actually went to high school with Ethereal, who's also in Awful Records. We linked up. I put him on to like some hip hop that I was listening to. We started a rap group.
So what was the change? What was it that made you say, you know what, I'm going to start to take...
Well, oddly enough, I was actually aspiring to be a professional skateboarder. And I was.
Did you ever play Tony Hawk Pro Skater?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Absolutely. I mean... Yeah, I think it was like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 that did it for me. And like I started skating, got really serious about it. Picked up a couple sponsors. I was actually this was the crossroads for me. I started doing music with Ethereal. We started recording and performing and stuff. And then we met Yellow Wolf, who we looked up to a lot. Yeah. And I was at the same time I was kind of climbing in my career as a skateboarder.
So it's happening all at once.
So it's happening all at once, but as all this is happening, I was like, man, what do I want to do more? So I was in a room. I don't know if you're familiar with Stevie Williams.
Stevie Williams.
He was in Tony Hawk, one of the Tony Hawk games, or EA Skate or something like that.
It sounds familiar, but I'm not gonna be a lame.
He's a famous black skateboarder. Shout out Stevie Williams. But he was introducing me to another guy, Carl Watson. Both of these dudes I look up to a lot. And it was at that moment where I was like, this is tight, but like I don't care that much.
That's honest.
Like I love skateboarding, I still do, but I was just like, this isn't why I do it. Like, so I was just like, from then on, I was like, man, I kind of want to take music a little more seriously.
So basically you met Ethereal, and that was, I guess, the moment when you said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Well, it was a gradual thing. And all throughout this time I was writing songs. I was a conscious rapper. I was gonna single-handedly save hip hop.
Dang.
Yeah.
You can still do it, bro.
A little bit.
You can still do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you make it seem like you can't rap, bro.
I'm not bars like I used to be, but I have it in me, I guess.
That's real. That's real. So
I rap a little bit on my new stuff.
Your new stuff. So you're working on something now? Because you released the Red EP last year.
Yes.
So what was the whole process in regards to that? How did you sit down and actually make that come to life? Because the project itself, it literally, the opening track movement with you and Abra just like Hadoken, like right in your face. So
look at his shirt though. That's so appropriate. Yeah. The process of like the Awful Records thing was kind of picking up. Like, as far as like my affiliation with Awful Records, I've kind of always been in the mix. Like, all of us have kind of always been friends. And Father was just kind of like, yo, I want to start my own shit. Like, who's down?
Dope.
And like, it was basically like, let's get all of the friends together. We all make such different types of music.
That's right.
But like, we were like, fuck it. Like, let's all get together and work together. And he shot my first 2 music videos. He helped me with my first album cover. Like, it was just kind of an organic thing.
I mean, what was it like though? Because he came to y'all, was like, let's do this whole thing entirely. I'm not gonna say he was like, forget everybody else, but clearly y'all all knew each other. But 17 of y'all.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So what is it like being involved in all of that energy? Because we know it's possible,
right,
Wu-Tang, it's possible.
Right, definitely.
But what is it like being in that energy with nothing but creatives? Is it competition? Do y'all?
It's friendly competition. It's kind of like being a part of a big dysfunctional family. Like, where you argue, you disagree, you like fight sometimes, but like,
you fight?
I don't.
I mean, I know you slap box, but
I'm usually the dude that is like, bruh, chill out. Like, you don't want to don't do that. That's but real. No one ever listens to me, so it's cool.
Why don't people listen to Micah Freeman, bro?
Because I make too much sense.
That's fair.
And people are crazy, and they don't want it. It just doesn't register.
So do you sometimes feel like you're possibly the oddball in the crew? Because everybody has that one person that's, it's like everybody, if it's 10 of y'all, I don't know, 8 of y'all might like hot Cheetos, and the other 2 might like Doritos. Do you sometimes feel like you're the oddball? Does it feel awkward sometimes, or?
It doesn't feel awkward because like, I have this kind of like gentleman kind of persona. Yeah. That like is a little odd. I think my aesthetic is more odd than like my personality, the way it fits into the crew.
Why do you feel like your aesthetic itself is odd from your perspective?
I'm just into different things. I would kind of consider myself someone that doesn't get super influenced by the things that are around me. I just like what I like, and that's just it. That just is what it is.
That's real.
Like, I can be around people that all love Doritos, and they're like, Doritos. They'll be all like, Dorito Squad, Dorito Gang, and I'm just like, I don't really like Doritos that much.
That's real.
But I like y'all. Like, I can hang out with y'all, but like, I don't need to like convert. And I think that is kind of evident in like my sound and my look, which I cultivated on my own, just based on what I like, what I'm into, like the type things that I like to wear, the music I like to listen to. And don't get it twisted, everybody in Awful Records has a very eclectic taste in music. Like, everybody listens to everything from Lil B to Soulja Boy to like surf, surf pop. That's like right. Synth pop, like.
So getting back to you and your aesthetic,
yeah. So
was it hard for you? Because most artists, every artist doesn't just pop out, the way that they are immediately. So was it hard for you finding yourself?
Yes, I think I don't think it was the finding myself that was so hard. It was, what parts of myself do I want to like express musically or visually? And I think like the hard part was just kind of, it was a process. Like, I started performing like as a kid. So I kind of transformed from this like skateboarding like kid with kind of dusty kid with dreads. You know what dusty. I mean? I could show you pictures. You'd be like, who is this? But no, like turning from that kid into like, like kind of finding within myself like what makes sense. Like, what are the parts of myself that I want to like put at the forefront of my brand.
That's right.
So it was a lot of like, identifying the essential and eliminating the rest.
That's real. I mean, it's good to see that you weren't afraid to do what you wanted, because in this day and age, it's really easy to get caught up into what's cool.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not necessarily real, because
Right.
popularity will always fade. You know, it's 2016. I mean, it's 10 years ago, tall tees were cool, and nobody wears those anymore.
I was wearing those.
Me too.
I'm going to come clean.
It's okay. It's all good. No need to be ashamed.
But I had skate shoes on, so
Hey, before the Van song and all that came out, right?
I was in the skate shop when Nike put out their first SBs.
Yes.
Like, they came in the mail.
Wow.
While I was in there, and I was like, what does this mean for the future of
Life.
skateboarding, of culture? Like, and then it happened. Like,
Yeah.
just all the sneakerheads started waiting in line.
I mean, I gather that you've basically been different your entire life, basically, because
Kind
I
of,
feel like
yeah.
it's safe to say, you know, we'll just say 10 years ago, it wasn't necessarily cool to be a skater kid. That
Not
wasn't
at all.
necessarily.
And that's kind of what it taught me, is like I kind of always gravitated toward these like weird kind of outlier things. Like, if you were black and you skateboarded, it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you on that white, that white boy, blah, blah, blah,
that's
blah.
what you
But
was
like,
into.
I was just like, I don't know, man. I like to skateboard, period.
That's real.
And I got laughed at, people were like, why are you wearing those shoes? And then 2 years later, it was like, teach me how to kickflip. I'm like, no,
Why, man?
because you made fun of me, man.
Well, hey, that's real. That's real. But I really think it's very commendable that you are not afraid to be yourself in that era where it's so easy to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And
So I think now, as it relates to like my sound, which is like, a lot of, and I don't think I'm really necessarily the only outlier in the crew. I think like Abra definitely sounds differently than like a bulk of the crew. Our homie Gam, he's pretty left of like what is expected. But yeah, I would definitely say I'm one of the outliers.
You're one of the outliers.
Like, my sound is a little over here from where everyone is, and like but it makes sense in a kind of weird way. But I think it's all about like everybody kind of finding their own individual voice, and like it's kind of like in Odd Future is not all, they don't all make the same type of music. You got the internet, Frank Ocean, like it's completely like, what? That's not Kill People Burn, you know what I mean? Like it's very like soothing. So I don't know, in a weird way I feel like it makes sense, like what I'm doing. Like with the Red EP, that was kind of me beginning to after my first project, The Timepiece, like I was kind of waiting around for people to kind of give me the production that I wanted, because I have this big vision of like where I wanted to go, but it was hard for me to articulate it to people. So I just took time to kind of learn to produce.
Yeah. So when it comes to producing, because I really wanted to get into that, because I think you're a dope producer. I know that I forget the name of the song, but it's one of India Shawn's most recent songs. I know I know you produced
the Multi-Love cover.
Yeah, I saw that you had producer credits, and I was like, wow, that's really dope. So what was it like for you sitting down actually learning how to produce?
It was a lot of studying. I think as a vocalist, like when you play, if anyone like plays an instrument, the way you hear a song is kind of like, like if you play guitar, you hear the guitar in the song, you're like, oh yeah, like I love that riff right there. Yeah. I've never been big on like sampling, so I was just like, I want to learn how to kind of program each instrument in the way that it's actually played. Dope. So I would go back and listen to Curtis Mayfield and like Otis Redding and James Brown, and like listen to these like rhythm guitar parts and like what the bass is doing. And that's kind of like, it was a lot of studying for me, because I got kind of infatuated with like 70s funk stuff. So I think I kind of went down that rabbit hole first, and then I was like, wait a second, like let me like slow down.
Like
and,
produce, like actual, when it comes to music, you mean like being engulfed in production opposed to actually writing and singing and rapping?
I mean both. I was like, I went down that rabbit hole, and like I released an EP called Heart Space, or it was like volume 1. There was a 2 and 3 that never came out, but like it was a struggle to get it out. But
why was it such a struggle?
It was like a mixing and mastering thing,
Okay.
and in hindsight, I feel like my production wasn't advanced. It couldn't catch up to my ideas yet, just because of like inexperience. But by the Red EP, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm kind of getting back to where I left off initially. Like these are the kind of beats that I wish people were giving me, and like what I lacked in like experience, I was making up for in vision. So like, you know.
So vision, where you see yourself, man?
I feel like I'm sitting in like I really feel like fusion is the future, and I'm sitting in between this like kind of swirl of hip hop, kind of soul, R&B, and electronic music, where like it gets dancey sometimes, it gets kind of gritty and soulful. Like it's weird that people see me as an R&B artist, but I don't really see myself as one. It's like I feel like the word R&B or the phrase kind of has this stigma to it, and it's really more the stigma that I don't really care for, because I feel like it kind of hints at this like croony Josie. Like it's like this super pretty croony shit, but I'm just kind of like, yo, I want to be more gritty than pretty, and like I've just been trying to like, you know, mold this sound that's kind of like, there are a few people who are kind of touching on it, but not in the way that I would.
That's real.
I think Anderson .Paak is definitely more gritty than pretty, and like doing it in a very dope way.
Yeah, very dope, very smooth.
Very, very dope. Like he makes pretty songs too, but like he just has that like soul, that just grease. It's just dripping with grease. Yeah. But it's not the way I would do it.
That's right.
So I'm just like, word, you know, I feel like, you know, there's definitely a place for me in the industry, just like no one else is really treading that lane yet.
The Micah Freeman space.
Micah Freeman space. It's coming.
It's definitely coming. I would definitely agree with that. Well, I just want to tell you, man, thank you for taking the time out of your life for coming up here, being on the pod. You got any shout outs, any acknowledgments, anything you want to throw out there?
Shout out to Work Crew.
Okay.
Some of my favorite DJs in the city happen to be friends of mine. Hey. That's pretty awesome. They're really carving out a space for artists and DJs that kind of are in this particular lane that doesn't have an infrastructure, and they're building that, and that's awesome. We need that in Atlanta. We need Noisy to come here and do acknowledge the rest of Atlanta, because we're not all in the trap with AKs.
Hey,
some of us are, but not me.
Say that again.
I'm not in the trap with AKs, cooking crack with my son in the, you know what I mean?
That's right.
I don't have a son, but if I did, he wouldn't be watching me cook crack in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Any other shout
shout out to Awful Records. Every single one of you have a special place in my heart, and y'all all ugly. And yeah, shout out to all my listeners, all my fans, like in whatever city you're in. Like, shit, rally to get me out there. I want to come to your city.
That's real, man. Well, Micah Freeman, thanks for your time. It's definitely
Absolutely,
a space
man.
out there for you, and keep the sauce alive, man.
It's brewing. It's bubbling.
It's bubbling. That's what's up.
I got a gang of work about to come out.
What's it called?
It's called Bad Etiquette. I haven't really announced the title yet until now, but it's called Bad Etiquette.
Shameless plug. I feel honored. I feel honored the fact that you really
you get it right here.
Hey, right here on the pot.
Yeah, on the pot. It's brewing in the pot.
Hey,
it's bubbling up.
Let that boy cook.